Hey, so we got a Fox News alert. President Obama has vowed executive action on immigration. We've heard that before, but now Fox News has exclusively learned as he begins, it could begin as early as next week. The plan would give amnesty to, 4.5 million illegals. Here with more details of the plan, Fox News senior judicial analyst guy, Judge Napolitano.
Steve.
You hate this.
I do hate it. And I hate it because this is the president exercising his discretion about how to enforce the law, and he has that discretion.
Yep.
But he's doing it in such a manner that it is the opposite of what the law requires. So here's what he's basically doing. When he says, I'm going to grant amnesty to 4.5 to 5 million people, he's basically telling the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice not to enforce the law. The law is you're here illegally, you have to leave and come back legally. Whether it's a good law or a bad law, whether it's a humane law or an inhumane law, he took an oath to enforce the laws faithfully. The reason the word faithfully is in his oath is because the drafters of the Constitution knew that presidents and chief executive officers had a tendency not to enforce laws with which they disagreed.
Sure.
So as to instill in all presidents the obligation to enforce laws whether they like them or not, that word faithfully is in the oath.
All right. I remember back in the day, remember when Reagan granted the clemency or whatever they called it to millions of people in the country illegally? That
was granted by the Congress. That was a change in the law.
But
that was perfectly lawful.
He went along with it because the Congress said, okay, Mr. President, if you sign this, we will secure the border. And he said, okay, then I'm going to sign it. Fast forward to today, there's nothing from the Congress.
Correct. So when the president effectively says, you're here illegally, but do this, this, and this, and no one will deport you. The this, and this is effectively the president rewriting the law. Under the Constitution, only the Congress can rewrite the law. So you have the president rewriting the law, and you have the president failing to comply with his oath.
Sure.
What does that equal? That equals serious violations of the Constitution. That equals offenses that rise to the level of impeachability. Whether they want to impeach him is a political judgment.
They don't.
And I'm not suggesting they should, and I don't think they will. But that's the constitutional remedy for presidential behavior this wide of the mark.
This is the problem when the Department of Justice, which is supposed to be the referee before the Supreme Court gets involved, has their finger, they've got their finger on the scale. They're on one side.
So guess what? We're about to have a new head of the Department of Justice, Loretta Lynch, a excellent professional prosecutor. I suggest to the Senate Judiciary Committee that they ask her, would you advise the President of the United States of America not to enforce the laws on 5 million people that are here illegally, and see what kind of an answer she gives? This is a decision by Eric Holder and a decision by President Obama, but she's going to be walking in the middle of this maelstrom.
We'll stand by. We'll see what happens.